Hey, I'm Fred Minnick, and welcome back to this quick tasting. Today I will be tasting the Parker's Heritage Collection, the Heavy Char, a 10-year-old, 120 proof bourbon that has a Char number 5. Now, these numbers for Chars, basically these are, it's how long the flames are on the barrel. So if you think of like toasting versus charring, toasting would be like a light flame on the barrel, just kind of barely opening it up. Think of it as like a Bic lighter up against a piece of wood versus a flamethrower, charring being the flamethrower type. So the most typical char level that you find in the American whiskey circle is char number 3, which is 45 seconds, and char number 4, which is 55 seconds. And sometimes the char number 4 is referred to as alligator char. Now, char number 5 is going to be over a minute, and it's going to have that a little bit more time with that wood, so the charcoalness will go deeper down into the wood than the traditional char number 3 or char number 4. With that said, while this is being promoted and marketed as a heavy char, this is by no means the heaviest char to enter the market. Some years ago, Buffalo Trace in their experimental collection did a char number 7, and that thing barely, the barrel barely held on and barely stuck together. So the longer you go with the fire, less of the barrel that you get, essentially, is what it comes down to, and the more of like that charry texture comes forward. So think of it like it's basically fire. So imagine what fire does to wood. And then they put the whiskey in here, and it's been sitting in there for 10 years. Now, I've got a link in the description that tells you more about this whiskey and a little bit more about the Parker's Heritage Collection. Now, this is one of the most sought-after releases every year. It is named in honor of the great Parker Beam, who passed away from ALS some years ago, and he was a friend. I'm very open about that, and so anytime I see Parkers, I think of the great man, Parker Beam. So this was sent to me by the distillery at no cost to me. This is my third time to taste it. I'll kind of like be a little quiet about what I thought of it previously and fill you in after I come in for the third and final round. I will say this, you might notice that there is a little bit taken off of this. My wife got a hold of this bottle and has been drinking on it. So the nose, definitely you can tell it's 120 proof. And it definitely has some layers of vanilla. I'm not really picking up like smoky notes like I thought I would. I mean, there is some like some nice barn wood. You know, you go into a barn and you got the stacks of wood over there, and they just kind of been sitting there and kind of collecting a little bit of dust and smell. It's a warm, pleasant smell to me. And then some tobacco and cigar box. So it's coming in with a very kind of malty approach at first. So it leans on the malty sweetness. So I'm talking, think of like a really, it's got like the sweetness of a porter. Some porter beers have like this nice back end sweetness. This has that same kind of like approach. This is very caramel laden. There's like little hints of smoke. Yeah, hints of smoke, some anise, there's like a blueberry pie kind of note in here. I get a lot of fruit. I get a lot of that sweetness. Then I get that back and forth of smoke. Also, that tobacco note is still, very prominent. I will say that I am not getting like an overly smoky, charry kind of note, that I would have, before. Now, I have had this previously, as I mentioned, and in previous tastings at home at kind of my own leisure versus like doing like an analytical tasting. I cut it with water. And I brought it down to probably about 100 proof. And I shit you not, it tasted an awful lot like a lot of 100 proof Heaven Hill products. So this definitely is, to me, while this is a different char level, it is not necessarily, that over charring that they did to it did not overtake it. So if you're someone who's like a little nervous about getting some smoke in there, I mean, yeah, there's a touch of smoke, but it's not overwhelming. Overall, I find this to be very pleasant, and I would definitely put this on the hunting list. Yeah, quite tasty. So that's going to do it for this particular tasting. If you'd like to see more honest reviews, click the subscribe button. They're coming out all the time. Plus, I've got interviews with celebrities coming up and live streams every Wednesday at 6:30. Until next time, cheers.